I mean, it's for the end. That's why they leave it there. But what you really came here for, the eggs, the milk, it's going to be at the very back of the store so that you're forced to go all the way through the back. You can't just grab what you need and go. You have to linger inside the store.
Okay, that's crazy.
Retail psychology.
Yeah.
Speaking
I'm picturing the average stores that I go into, and she is right. What is up, YouTube? How y'all doing? Hey, this is going to be a 2-part series. We are back at Rotten Mangoes. I love this little girl, a young lady. She tells the most dynamite stories, man, and it is incredible. Had me hooked. I want to bring a bed in here, like a bedtime story, but some of them are nightmares, right? So I don't want to bring a bed in here. But it's relaxing the way she breaks everything down, man. I knew I was gonna mispronounce this. I don't. Abercrombie. Oh man, being to hear practice and everything, y'all. I don't know what this is. Abercrombie. I don't even care no more, man. I don't care. I can't pronounce it. Accused of global trafficking. Yeah, you can't say that word. I'm learning what not to say. I'm trying to get everything out. Half of the stuff I can't say anyway. Ring of models. What? Ring of models. It's cold, man. I'm still shaking this cold. Y'all hit that subscribe button. Hit that bell. Let's check this bad boy out. Let's have some fun, y'all.
Bada bing, bada boo.
when you walk into a store, just know that they might be watching you. And there is so much that we are telling the store owners by just walking through a store. 90% of us will turn right once we're inside the store. That's after you get past the decompression zone. That's what they call it. It is the zone right before the exit that is just big enough that the average customer walking in will transition from being outside, all the noises of the cars honking, the parking lot mess, to now getting ready to spend money. It is timed so that you feel comfortable enough inside this new space. Then most of us turn right, which means some stores will take advantage of that. They will guide you counterclockwise through the architectural flow of the entire layout. The first wall you hit is the high power wall, which means stores will place items that they want to sell on the first aisle or wall the customer stops on. It's not going to be the best items, but the good items. The best items are actually scattered throughout the store to make sure that you walk through every single aisle looking for them. Side note, stores intentionally put small traffic blocking obstacles that are not a major inconvenience, but slow the customer down so that they can encourage browsing.
What? Wait a minute, man. All this is going on in a store. I never knew when I go in a store, the first thing I want to do is turn right. I never knew that. They know more about me than I do. I want to turn right. Did y'all know that? Do you turn right when you go in the store? I don't know where the hell I turn. I just want to buy what I need to buy and get up out of there.
Items, but the good items.
Watch
the best
this.
items are actually
like
scattered throughout the store to make sure that you walk through every single aisle looking for them. Side note, stores intentionally put small traffic blocking obstacles that are not a major inconvenience, but slow the customer down so that they can encourage browsing. So you're running around the store trying to find the best items, but the really good ones, the really good products are near the left side, right before you check out. This is when our carts are already full and we know that we already went over budget, but this one thing is so irresistible that we can't even say no. I mean, it's for the end. That's why they leave it there. But what you really came here for, the eggs, the milk, it's going to be at the very back of the store so that you're forced to go all the way through the back. You can't just grab what you need and go. You have to linger inside the store.
Okay, that's crazy.
Retail psychology.
Yeah. Wow.
I'm picturing the average stores that I go into, and she is right. The meat, the milk in the store, the frozen chicken, you know, the meat and potatoes, so to speak. the water is in the back and the middle. All this stuff. Oh my goodness. Wait a minute, y'all. Here we go. I'm gonna stopping it. Okay.
To go all the way through the back. You can't just grab what you need and go. You have to linger inside the store.
Okay, that's crazy.
That is
Retail
crazy.
psychology.
Yeah.
Speaking of, if
I
you want your
never knew
customers
this.
lingering, you're going to want to play slower music. Or if you want them to get everything they need and leave or make impulse purchases, make the tempo of the music faster. Add splashes of red, which subconsciously create a sense of urgency. And remember, eye level is buy level, meaning whatever you want to sell the most, items with the highest margins that you're trying to get off the shelves, you're going to want to put it at eye level with the consumer. When you walk through the children's aisle with your children or your nieces, in my point, what's at your eye level is not what they're trying to sell you. I mean, yeah, they're trying to sell it to you, but what they're really trying to sell you is at what it's eye level with your child. One thing stores do not ever forget, at least the good stores, is the smell. You know that amazing smell when you walk into a coffee shop? Most of it is coffee aroma pumping through the HVAC systems. It's not just their coffee machines. Some department stores will even pump different scents in different sections of their store. Coconut scent in their bikinis and vacation wear section.
I don't like
Lilac
coconut.
in their lingerie departments. But there is one store that takes it even further. The mandatory number to spritz the cologne is 10. Several inches from the close, every single hours. Spritz, 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 spritz. 10 sprays each. After the 9th spritz, it feels more appropriate to just put the bottle of cologne through a hose system and spray down the clothes. It's like a mushroom cloud, puff of smoke that every time everybody walks in, it's just the strongest scent. I mean, I'm sure at first it could be a good scent, but the employees of the store that are surrounded by this scent 40 hours a week, you might as well mix Windex and lemon with musk and call it Abercrombie Fierce.
They sprit 10 times per hour?
The nicer stores have a system that spritzes the perfume automatically on a timer. Heavy-duty commercial machines that spritz the perfume.
But like that's 10 times at one section.
Yes,
And they do it throughout the whole store.
throughout.
What?
Some employees complained that by the end of their day, their eyes were blood red and their nails even felt like they were gonna fall off because they're brittle, just because of how strong and toxic the scent is and how it's filled to the brim with alcohol in the air. But that is the price to be hot. That and a button-down shirt that's supposed to be worn with 3 buttons open, skinny jeans that are cuffed at 1.25 inches, and hairstyles that are supposed to be kept natural and well kept. That is the price of hot. According to Abercrombie's employee lookbook, that's what they want you to look like. The store is fascinating. I mean, they're no longer like this, but back then they were known in the mall for having 2 shirtless guys standing outside the door trying to, I guess, telepathically convince you to come in through their abs. Once you walk in, the clothes, they're terrible quality. Or maybe they're not. It's hard to say when it's completely dark inside. The music is blasting so loud you can barely hear yourself think. The smell is so nauseating after a few minutes. And the employees who are required to say, "What's up?" within 15 seconds of you walking in, suddenly they're standoffish. They don't really want to help you. One former employee said, at the time, Abercrombie trained its employees to purposely ignore and not help and be snotty to its customers. It creates like a too good image, and it was encouraged.
That's crazy. Is that true?
Yes, and they were also told to not apologize for not having plus size sizes. They said, don't be sorry. Don't tell the customer you're sorry.
What?
The whole idea of Abercrombie is the work of then CEO
Abercrombie.
Michael Jeffries, the quote-unquote mad genius behind the brand, who has now been arrested for sex trafficking with alleged connections to potentially Diddy.
Oh, now it's coming together. Wait a minute. It just clicked. Because this is the guy this is the guy who got bail. I was going to say allegedly for no reason. He got bail. And they, Puffy and them trying to say, well, he got bail because he got a no, Puff. We gonna burn you. We need to hold you here so you can get burnt. We know you know that you gonna get burnt, and this is why we need to hold you. Okay, Abercrombie. I'm getting it. I'm trying to get it.
They said, don't be sorry. Don't tell the customer you're sorry.
What?
The
Now
whole
I got
idea
it.
of Abercrombie is the work of then
Abercrombie.
CEO Michael Jeffries, the quote-unquote mad genius behind the brand, who has now been arrested for sex trafficking with alleged connections to potentially Diddy, but also to Jeffrey Epstein.
What? Oh, yeah, Mike, you've been under a rock, dog. There's a rock in the backyard that my bed is under, apparently. Yeah, apparently, man.
Growing team. And we'd also like to thank you guys for your continued support as we work on our mission to be worthy advocates.
Yes.
As always, full show notes are available at rottenmangopodcast.com. Some quick disclaimers for today's ongoing case. Updates are developing as we speak, so the information is current up to the publishing date. Some statements have been shortened for time. Additionally, this case is quite heavy in regards to illicit forced substance abuse, essays, trafficking. Anything we state, though, in today's episode, specifically when we cover what alleged victims have stated to the media, the news outlets, detailed in their lawsuits, and even the federal indictment, they are all just allegations right now.
Yes.
Everyone is innocent until proven guilty in the court of law, and the people in question have pled not guilty.
Except for Puffy and this guy right here. They guilty. Allegedly.
So with that being said, let's get started. Do you ever just watch someone and you think, oh, that's so interesting? Why do they do something like that? Michael Jeffries just is a fascinating person. He does very fascinating things. He goes through the revolving doors twice. He has to go through it twice. He can't just get off after the first round. He has to go through it twice. He never passes others on stairwells. Even if he's late, he doesn't like to pass them by the side and go in front of them.
Wait, hold on. The revolving doors?
Yeah.
He takes a 360 plus more.
Yes. Yes. He parks his Porsche every single day at the same angle in the same parking spot, and he wedges his key in between the car seats and leaves the doors unlocked. He's a pair of lucky shoes. If he has to read something important, like a financial document, he will put those shoes on. He will not read it in any other footwear. This is his footwear of choice. But right now, he's with a journalist named 𝗗𝗓, and the two of them are walking through an Abercrombie store, passing all the big blown up pictures of the shirtless abs all over the walls. And he's asking 𝗗𝗓, the journalist, how does the store look? How does it feel? How does it smell? These are the things that I'm obsessed with. He walks up to the mannequins. We're just not there, guys. He's yelling at his employees. No, we're not. The music is blasting. He's practically screaming over it. For some reason, they don't just lower the music, not even a decibel. He's pointing at the mannequin in the woman's clothes. The jeans are too high. The jeans have to be lower, and we need to make the legs look skinny, okay? Should we clip the back of the knees or something? We need it bigger at the top and skinnier at the legs. That is much easier, okay? It's gonna be much, much better. Then he turns his attention to the male mannequin. How much more rugged and masculine can we make this one look? A bunch of assistants run over. Make the jeans look a little bit bigger in the leg, you know? Good. Oh, that's good, that's good. He looks cooler now. He's got more attitude. That's what we're looking for, more attitude. And look at this. Look at this. We need to fix this guy's package. Someone come stuff him. He's talking about that package.
You're talking about mannequin?
Yeah. A female assistant runs over
y'all.
to try and poof up the private area of that mannequin. Now lower the pants some more. The pants need to be much, much lower. Get them as low as we can without them falling off. We don't want him looking like some old guy. It's not really something you would do in front of a customer, but there's no customers coming into the store because this is not a real Abercrombie store. It's a mock store, a fake practice store inside the massive 300-acre office for Abercrombie located in the middle of nowhere in Ohio.
What in
they
the
call
world?
it the campus. That's what their HQ is called. Welcome to the Abercrombie headquarters. If you see a drone shot of it, it could honestly be used in one of those showing FBI training headquarters movies or some.
Wow, did y'all see that? We talking about clothes, right?
That's what their HQ is called. Welcome to the Abercrombie headquarters. If you see a drone shot of it.
Look at that, man. I'm sorry, Gap. I thought the Gap was big. God.
It could honestly be used in one of those showing FBI
Abercrombie.
training headquarters movies
Abercrombie.
or some doomsday bunker for the ultra elite. Pretty much every single person on this campus, they're wearing flip-flops, ripped jeans, polo shirts with mooses on the front, Abercrombie's logo.
You're kidding.
They themselves call working at Abercrombie the 13th grade because that's what it feels like, an extension of high school. 13th grade. 𝗗𝗓 is following Mike Jeffries, the CEO, around the campus, and he kind of walks fast for someone who's perpetually click-clacking around in flip-flops, and it's just so fascinating to listen to the CEO. Everything is dude this, dude that, dude, man, dude. What a cool idea, dude. Let's make this dude look more like a dude. Interesting. You know, the man is 61 years old.
Dude. He living his
Mike
fantasy.
thinks the worst kind of people are moody and cynical, as opposed to cool people who are beautiful, masculine, optimistic. That's what America needs more of. And Mike Jeffries, he seems to act like he has it all. I mean, he acts like it. Mike Jeffries is the CEO of Abercrombie, but one could argue he's more like the founder and creator. He made the brand what it is. Those shirtless guys outside spraying cologne on people that walk past, that was his idea. It was also his idea to not sell extra large or XXL in women's clothing specifically. They sell them for men, but not for women, which is interesting because it's all about aspiration. Those are his words, not mine. Mike Jeffries says, that's why we hire good-looking people in our stores, because good-looking people attract other good-looking people. And we want to market to cool, good-looking people. We don't want to market to anyone other than that. In every school, there are the cool kids and the...
I'm sorry. If it was me and I would understand they point behind all the stuff they doing, small, skinny, period, I would never, ever buy any piece of their clothing. And I would help spread the word of that's not racist, but what you call it when you can't pick a certain group of people. The word escapes my mind right now that you are y'all put it in the comments, man, what word I'm looking for. Shame on you to point out everybody is beautiful. Big, small, tall, short, handicapped. I don't care. Everybody's on this earth for a purpose.
Popular kids, and then there are the not so cool kids.
See what I'm saying?
We go after the cool kids.
Listen to all this she's saying.
We don't want to...
One more time. Here we go. Oh, my bad. Here we go.
Mike Jeffries says, that's why we hire good-looking people in our stores.
We
because
good-looking
good-looking
picking.
people attract other good-looking people. And we want to market to
good-looking.
cool, good-looking people. We don't want to market to anyone other than that. In every school, there are the cool kids and the popular kids, and then there are the not-so-cool kids. Candidly, we go after the cool kids. We go after the attractive, all-American kid with a great attitude and a lot of friends. A lot of people don't belong in our clothes, and they can't belong. Are we exclusionary? Absolutely. Those companies that are in trouble are trying to target everybody, young, old, fat, skinny, but then you become totally vanilla. You don't alienate anybody, but you also don't excite anybody either. This interview will later go viral. And it leads to a huge campaign, a boycott against Abercrombie and Fitch. It leads to a YouTuber vlogging himself, buying Abercrombie clothes from Goodwill, handing them out to people without homes on Skid Row, which this is also very controversial, but he tells his viewers that they need to rebrand Abercrombie into the #1 apparel for people without homes. He encourages his viewers to donate their Abercrombie clothes to people without homes and use the hashtag Fitch to the homeless, which... that's not exactly it either, okay? But listen, the whole thing is very complicated, very messy, but not as messy as it's about to get in 2024 when the feds get involved in the former Abercrombie CEO's life. The federal indictment reads, from approximately 2008 to 2015, the defendants, Michael S. Jeffries, then CEO, Matthew C. Smith, and James T. Jacobson, together with others, operated an international trafficking and prostitution business. A man named Luke tells the BBC.
Here we
These
go.
are just claims, but he says it was nothing like what he anticipated. He had walked in, and it's, of course, a dimly lit room with those giant photos of shirtless guys all over the walls, and everything is dark. And in the middle, there's a group of assistants standing full head to toe in Abercrombie uniforms, the forever recognizable polo shirt, blue jeans, flip-flops, just casually folding clothes on a table. The only thing missing is likely that strong scent of cologne. Abercrombie Fierce, they call it. Luke was called by the supposed executive assistant of Mike Jeffries, the former CEO, to come in for a photo shoot. Except this is not an Abercrombie store. It's also not the mock store. It's not the practice store. According to Luke, this is a hotel suite that has been outfitted to look exactly like an Abercrombie store. According to Luke's allegations, again, these are just allegations, but those quote-unquote assistants that are folding clothes keep encouraging him to pretend to be a shirtless greeter at the front of the store, like role play. Just do it, they allegedly kept telling him. They allegedly kept telling him, now I have two very important guests, and these are going to be customers that you need to impress and entertain because they're going to be buying a lot of clothes from you. Luke says in that moment, Mike Jeffries and a man named Matthew Smith come out from the corner of the room. He claims that they immediately start touching him. Luke alleges the former CEO of Abercrombie then proceeded to perform oral sex on Luke, while Luke allegedly, quote, I tried to say no repeatedly, and then I just kind of got convinced to do something, but I was constantly saying no. I just wanted to go. And you know when you pack your suitcase perfect for your trip, everything is stuffed to the brim and it works. It zips. But the second that zipper starts unraveling, everything starts coming out. Once this comes out, a string of allegations will start coming out against the former CEO of Abercrombie. One allegation is by John, fake name. He states that he was on a cruise, the Queen Mary 2 that sails from England to New York. He was there because Mike Jeffries asked him to be. And how do you say no to Mike Jeffries, who keeps trying to allegedly insert a, quote, bleeding finger into him? He thought this was a work opportunity to potentially be a model for Abercrombie. I was in the bed putting on a fake smile, crying on the inside. Here I am in the middle of the ocean having this person 4 times my age in that position of power and influence belittle me to death and literally call me worthless simply because I said no to something. No to sexual advances. In one lawsuit filed against Mike Jeffries, the former CEO of Abercrombie, the lawsuit alleges, this is separate from the federal indictment and still nonetheless an allegation. The lawsuit alleges, quote, at one point, a video circulated within the Abercrombie office which depicted Mike Jeffries sniffing what was believed to be cocaine off a man's penis.
Whoa, that's crazy.
A line of cocaine off of a man's private part. I guess a bunch of employees were just circulating the video.
It was a video.
That's what the allegation is, yes.
Okay.
The prosecutors also alleged that the victims were as young as 19 years old, were often subjected to painful penis injections. They were allegedly told that it was liquid Viagra. The indictment reads, on more than one occasion, the defendants either directed others to or personally injected men in their penises with a prescription-grade erection-inducing substance for the purpose of causing the men to engage in acts in which they were otherwise physically incapable or unwilling. Notwithstanding the fact that these injections were not medically injected and frequently caused the men to suffer painful physical reactions that lasted for several hours. Mike Jeffries and Matthew Smith employed their use to fulfill their own desires by causing men to submit to them. The indictment alleges, quote, these events, including amongst other things, anal intercourse, the insertion of large toys into the anus, and high-pressured enemas administered by inserting a hose into the anus. So an enema allegedly given through a high-pressured hose would not only be painful, but extremely dangerous. These are the allegations set forth in the federal indictment. It stated that these could potentially cause severe injury by tearing a hole in the rectum or the colon. It could cause damage to the intestinal lining. And it stated, quote, using a high-pressure hose for an enema would be extremely dangerous and should never be attempted. All these allegations...
No kidding. Wait a minute. What is a high-pressure hose? Is my hose coming from my house? Is that high pressure or that's regular pressure? I wouldn't even want that pressure. Forget high. Forget that word. A water hose? There are some sick people in this world, man. Oh my goodness. Are you serious?
Really dangerous. These are the allegations set forth in the federal indictment. It stated that these could potentially cause severe injury by tearing a hole in the rectum or the colon. It could cause damage to the intestinal lining. And it stated, quote, using a high-pressure hose for an enema would be extremely dangerous and should never be attempted. All these allegations are currently being handled by the Eastern District of New York, the same office that handled the NXIVM cold case, not to be confused with the Southern District of New York. That is the office that is handling the Diddy case. The Eastern District of New York will be taking on former CEO Mike Jeffries, and they are not here to play. During a press conference for the arrest of Mike Jeffries, Mike's right-hand man Matthew Smith, and Mike's recruiter James Jacobson, the prosecutors state,
to anyone who thinks they can exploit and coerce others by using the so-called casting couch system, this case should serve as a warning. Prepare to trade that couch for a bed in federal prison.
Wow.
Which is a very powerful statement, but it's also very intriguing. Because why now? That has been a question brought up by so many netizens. He was the CEO, he stepped down in 2014. Why now? And they have been busy drawing connections. Netizens are drawing connections between Mike Jeffries and a few other controversial figures, Diddy and Jeffrey Epstein. Some people think the timing of Mike Jeffries' arrest is interesting. He is arrested about a month after Diddy was arrested. The trafficking charge feels similar, and perhaps some of the allegations feel similar to netizens. Mike Jeffries would allegedly host these private events at his massive Hamptons mansion. Instead of it being filled with celebrities and wearing all white, allegedly he would invite over aspiring male models. He would invite them to his $30 million home, and the house staff that worked at this massive estate said it was very strange. Every Saturday between 11 to 6 p.m., they all had to leave. They're like, why do we have to leave? I feel like this is the day where we get the most work done. It was unspoken that this was Mike's playtime. That's one of the former staffers said.
Whoa.
One alleged victim states that the house in the middle of nowhere in the Hamptons, all you hear is the ocean and seagulls. I mean, the homes are so big, neighbors are far apart, it's very secluded, and the house is clean. They said the house is too clean. He says, quote, like when I say clean, I mean like a hospital clean, like almost sterile. Another victim states of the Hamptons house party, I was told to undress into my underwear, and I was given a glass of wine and was told that they're going to come chat with me, like an interview. They continue, I was presented with meeting the CEO of Abercrombie & Fitch for a party, a sexual experience. There was never any real clarification of what was expected of me. It was just like, you can go there and do what you're comfortable with and let it be known in a roundabout way that the further you go, the better. I just was not a human to these people. I was an animal. I was a body. I was being presented to someone to do what they wanted with. Which again, a lot of netizens feel very similar to the Diddy case. They comment, yeah, Diddy is dropping names in alphabetical order, Abercrombie for A. Another writes, the first Diddy domino has fallen. Sing, Diddy, sing. But there is no direct connection between Abercrombie and Mike Jeffries and Diddy, at least none that the public knows of. But there is an interesting, perhaps stronger connection between Mike Jeffries and a Jeffrey Epstein. Side note, we have a whole 2-part series on Epstein and Epstein's Island, but it's rather well known that Jeffrey Epstein and a man named Leslie Wexner were once very, very close. Leslie Wexner is a billionaire that runs L Brands. Well, he did.
Right.
The parent company for brands like Victoria's Secret, which allegedly Epstein would pose as a recruiter for Victoria's Secret to approach young women and try to essay them, allegedly, or sometimes would fully allegedly essay them. Leslie Wexner put Epstein in charge of his finances, billions of dollars. This is how he becomes so rich. Leslie Wexner has since stated that he has been taken advantage of by Epstein and called Epstein sick, cunning, and so depraved. But netizens are very suspicious of him. But what does this have to do with Mike Jeffries? I'll tell you exactly what it has to do with Mike Jeffries. Teddy Roosevelt. Hold on. Teddy Roosevelt and Ernest Hemingway were actually big fans of Abercrombie. They're not wearing the polo with the popped collars. Abercrombie is actually quite old. They didn't put 1892 on their sweaters to appear more collegiate. They were actually formed in 1892. They were known primarily for safari wear, fishing gear. They had some really cool hunting gear that people would equate to the style of, I guess, like Peaky Blinders. And like the long trench coats, you're going hunting. They sold fishing gear, guns, shaving cream, books, everything. One-stop shop at the Abercrombie. But eventually, Abercrombie becomes this failing brand. They're not even just not making money. They're losing $25 million a year. Not in the way that tech companies are not profitable, but like investors are very stressed about this. They're just losing money with no end in sight until Leslie Wexner comes around, purchases Abercrombie & Fitch for $47 million to join all his other brands under the limited company, which, again, he's no longer a part of. But when he was in charge of Victoria's Secret, Express, Lane Bryant, Bath & Body Works, The Limited, Henry Bendel, White Barn Candle Company, and now Abercrombie & Fitch. Les has a few things that he's known for. One, the way he builds his businesses, there's always one of two ways he goes about it. He either takes an existing brand, tries a new concept that lives within that existing brand's cohesive message, and then spins it until it becomes successful. Or he will take an existing failing brand and do everything he can to make it profitable. He buys failing Abercrombie and puts a man named Mike Jeffries in charge. And that's how they're connected.
And that is how they are connected. So, golly, oh my gracious, man. I'm getting a lot of information because I didn't know that they go back that far. That was some old looking pictures. Look at the magazines and stuff back in the day. Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy right there. I'm fast forwarding this Shopify commercial. Yeah, the Shopify commercial. We gotta skip over that.
Rihanna is an investigative journalist for the BBC. This was several years ago. She actually broke this case. She was the one that kickstarted the federal investigation.
Okay.
Back in 2021, she's scrolling on Instagram when she sees this discourse happening between male models about feeling ignored during the Me Too movement. One model writes, "We've seen it happen with hashtag Me Too. How about hashtag us too?" Interesting. She immediately tries to get in contact with the male model that posts that because perhaps she could help share the story. I mean, what story does he have? After an hour of talking, the male model, Barrett, opens up and tells her, "It was the darkest experience I've ever dealt with. They had someone come and shave me, like my whole body, because that's how they like the boys."
I was butt-ass naked as I was being asked for my ID and to sign this non-disclosure agreement.
Rihanna is like, who the hell is he talking about? The CEO of Abercrombie, the one that made $70 million in a year.
Abercrombie.
70 million. He tells her that he thought he was going to get scouted as an Abercrombie and Fitch model. Instead, he ends up essayed. But he's not the only one. It's like a whole operation, and it all starts with the man with no nose. Another alleged victim of then CEO of Abercrombie states he explained that he has no nose or no skin on his nose because he had a plastic surgery mishap with his nose and it collapsed and it had to be removed completely. He chooses to wear this snakeskin patch, like a leather patch where his nose once was. He kind of looks like Voldemort. They were all told, you go meet with Mr. No Nose first before you can meet the CEO of Abercrombie. He's the gatekeeper. This would start a 3-year hunt to look for the man without the skin on his nose. And when Rihanna finally finds him 2 years later, she manages to track down the man with no nose, tracks him all the way down to his front doorstep. Knock, knock. The door slowly creaks open, and here he is on the porch steps with his head in his hands, and he tells Rihanna, the reporter, "I promise I'll tell you everything if you leave my name out of it." The name everyone cares about in the fashion industry, or at least at one point, was Mike Jeffries. The one that turned a random fishing brand into the only thing that teenagers want to wear and spend $60 on a polo shirt on, or at least convince their parents to buy them a $60 hoodie. I mean, he didn't just do that with Abercrombie and Fitch either. He created Abercrombie for kids, for little 5-year-olds to wear Abercrombie. The regular Abercrombie for middle schoolers. High schoolers, there's Hollister, the tiny bit less expensive brand that sells the California dream. There's a lot of spin-off brands. This is how one journalist describes it. For the middle schoolers, there's Abercrombie. For high schoolers, there's Hollister. And quote, "It's a wildly popular surf-inspired look for energetic and outgoing girls and guys. Perfect choice for Midwestern teens that wish they lived in Laguna Beach, California." Then quote, "When those Hollister kids head off to college, the preppy and collegiate Abercrombie and Fitch is waiting for them." One psychologist said, they are selling the most popular people in class, the quarterback and the head of the cheerleader. That's what they're actually selling. One former employee said they were required to say, "Hey, what's up?" to everyone that walked in. They write on Reddit, you're required to say that tagline to anyone within 15 seconds of them entering the store. "Hey, what's up?" That's the simplest one. One time they changed it to, "Hey, how's it going? Have you tried our jeans? They'll make you look like a star." Which naturally everyone in the store hated. But that is what Mike Jeffrey wanted. And what Mike Jeffrey wants, he gets. The first day one would start their job at Abercrombie, at least back then, it's likely they would have a big binder slapped down in front of them. What is this? Employee lookbook. If you flip to page 1, it reads, "Exhibiting the Abercrombie look is a tremendously important part of the A&F stores. We are selling an experience for our customer, an atmosphere that people want to experience over and over again. Our people in store are an inspiration to the customer. This is what you need to look like. Hairstyles, neatly combed, attractive, natural, classic hairstyle. There are 2 pictures on the lookbook. The acceptable side shows an image of a white model. And of course, the unacceptable side shows a black model with dreadlocks. As for jewelry, gold chains are not acceptable for men, but a thin, short, delicate silver necklace on women is perfectly.
Wait a minute. I'm trying to figure out okay.
You need to look like. Hairstyles, neatly combed, attractive, natural, classic hairstyle. There are 2 pictures on the lookbook. The acceptable side.
I'm looking at the neatly combed. Okay, I can accept that. Classic hairstyle is dreadlocks are unacceptable. I wonder why. I mean, His dress look neat. His shirt is open, and it's funny. I'm the type of person. The last thing I'm trying to do is look at the race, the black and the white thing. I'm because that's the first thing everybody go to. Oh, that's unacceptable because he black, and that's acceptable because he white. No. The man don't like dreadlocks. Me personally, I don't like dreadlocks, but my nephew got dreadlocks. I talk about dreadlocks to people, and I'm trying to understand the dreadlocks. Maybe I don't like dreadlocks because my hair can't lock. I don't have no hair. Anyway, but I can see how a fashion design type thing would not like dreadlocks because it represents a different style that they're not going after. Not a black and white thing. That's the only thing I'm saying. I can see and understand that. But to do this comparison, to be honest, you should have had a white guy up there with dreadlocks. That's the only thing I'm pointing out. So
to the customer. This is what you need to look like.
But
hairstyles.
Who am
neatly
I?
combed,
I don't know nothing about
natural,
styles.
classic hairstyle. There are 2 pictures on the lookbook. The acceptable side shows an image of
and both of their shirts are unbuttoned, so I don't know. He's showing a t-shirt. I used to hate that. My t-shirt, I did that just a while ago. When my t-shirt is showing, I never liked that. But I'm learning that that's acceptable. And that's just me.
white
I don't
model.
know.
And of course, the unacceptable side shows a black model with dreadlocks. As for jewelry, gold chains are not acceptable for men, but a thin, short, delicate silver necklace on women is perfectly okay. Women are allowed a maximum of 2 earrings per ear and should not be bigger than a dime and should not dangle. Underscored and bolded, men are not allowed to wear earrings. Even fingernails, it reads. Fingernails should not extend more than 1/4 of an inch beyond the tip of the finger. Although natural nails are preferred, if polish is worn, it should be clear or natural in color. Managers and recruiters were told, the best way to find the employee is just go straight to the best fraternities on each campus and recruit the best looking guys there. Likely that guy is going to do well in the store, just standing shirtless at the door. But he's probably already popular, meaning if he's wearing Abercrombie, everyone else will want to wear Abercrombie, so it's perfect. There's even a manual for the crew on the Abercrombie company jet.
Look at
a
that
47-page manual. Some interesting parts read. The male staff should spritz their uniforms with Abercrombie cologne upon arrival at the household and throughout the duration of the shift. Even here, with private planes, he's very picky, Mike Jeffries is, writing, hats should be worn when the temperature is below 40 degrees. Make sure that the brim of the hat is 2 inches thick. The brim should be pulled so that it is approximately in the middle of the forehead. He is meticulous. He even cares about how many cushions were on each office chair or on the private jet plane chairs, even bringing dogs onto the plane. Mike Jeffries has a protocol. Upon arrival, the houseman will direct the bags to the captain. The houseman will take the dogs on board the aircraft, leaving the dogs on their leashes. Once on board, the houseman will hand the dogs to the steward to tend to them from there. The houseman will then carry all the carry-ons on board to be taken directly to the crew rest area, where Ruby and Trouble travel. These are the dogs' names. Ruby will sit opposite Michael in the cabin. As for meal service, 1 medium tray liner should be laid 3.5 inches from the edge of the table. 1 dinner napkin should be centered on the tray liner so that the embroidery at the bottom of the napkin lines up with the embroidery at the bottom of the tray liner. 1 luncheon fork should be placed on the left of the tray liner, 1/2 inch from the bottom of the tray liner. 1 luncheon knife should be placed to the right of the luncheon forks, 1/2 inch from the bottom of the tray liner. 1 white wine glass should be placed above the tray liner. There's even a section for language and tone. When Michael or a guest makes a request, respond by saying, no problem. This should be used in place of phrases like, sure, just a minute, right away, yes, sir. Which, if you remember from the Epstein episode, Ghislaine Maxwell had some weird manuals for house employees. And these, like saying, no problem, these things, she was very particular about. So the connection is very strong. Even preparing reports for Mike Jeffries to read on the plane is detailed. It reads, set up the hole punch by pulling out the silver calibrated side so that the edge of the hole punch lines up with the 5th mark on the silver calibrated slider. He's even detailing how you need to punch holes. And it's not just an arbitrary little booklet that he creates for everyone to read and nod. He actually holds people accountable for these things. It's called a corporate blitz. Unannounced store visits, in the sense that the stores will probably find out that someone from corporate, potentially even Mike Jeffries himself, is coming, but maybe a few days ahead. One former employee said that they would find out a corporate blitz is happening on a Friday. That means Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, everyone is doing overnight shifts nonstop. This is Abercrombie. This is not
This is a job. You are that much in fear of your job. Oh my God, I am so glad. Thank you, Jesus. And at one time I was like that. I remember those days, man. When she was explaining the silverware and how the place got to look and the champagne glass and all this, man, just give me my food. Make sure it's cooked. That's it. I don't care I don't even care if the food touching and all this stuff. People got so many daggone stipulations. I didn't even know. I didn't know these stipulations could seriously exist.
That they would find out a corporate blitz is happening on a Friday. That means Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, everyone is doing overnight shifts nonstop.
Nonstop.
This is Abercrombie. This is not.
Get it together.
I don't know, the World Health Organization.
But I wonder if the people who own these stores, I mean, are they working for free? Or they getting overtime? They staying on the clock? They getting paid? So every time we get ready to come into a store, the overtime goes up or more work hours is being put out. I wonder, do they notice that? Or are these people working for free because they want to keep that hush hush? I don't know. That's crazy. That's something to think about, y'all.
They not only check to make sure that the shelves are completely dust-free, the moose head that's hanging on every store wall has to be super clean. Mike is very detail-oriented and honestly kind of a micromanager. One former employee writes online, I worked as a, quote, model folding clothes at the front of the store, and it was my job to greet people who walked in. And the only greeting I was allowed to use at that time was, hey, how's it going? Because I guess it seemed more cool and laid back or whatever. I literally got yelled at by my manager once for going off script and saying, hey, welcome to Abercrombie. Another former employee says, during orientation, we were told not to interact with customers. Our jobs were to fold clothes and look good in clothes. Another said, men had to wear their jeans one waist size bigger so you could see their underwear line and the logo on the underwear. Our shirts also had to be one size smaller so it was tight in the chest and arms so you could see our muscles. When we had to wear our belts extra long to hang in front like a penis. Yeah.
That's what they said?
Mm-hmm. But the most important thing, according to one former manager during a corporate...
Did y'all see that picture, man? Come on, man. I was like, what?
Our belts extra long to hang in front like a penis. Yeah.
Look at this. I mean, it just look like your belt too long, man. It don't look like no pink. Can you say that word? I guess she said it. But look at this. Look. Well.
Yeah.
That's what they said?
Mm-hmm. But the most important thing, according to one former manager during a corporate blitz, is the thing that mattered the most, though, was who was working the day of the visits. There were some people that we kept on staff just for those visits. AKA, they have to go above and beyond the lookbook. The former manager said, it was never, hey, your store is not hitting the number or doing this. It was, you gotta get better looking people in here. One employee said, I remember a girl walking in once and asking me if we're hiring. We were, but somehow the manager overheard and told me in the headset to tell her that we weren't. The manager said she didn't have the look. One former A&F store manager went on to CBS to say, I was sick of getting my schedule back every week with lines through names, essentially telling people that they're not good enough to work here. I can't look the people that work for me that want to be there in the eye and say, lie to them and say, oh, we don't have hours, when it really was because they weren't pretty enough.
How is that okay for such a big brand to discriminate like that for that long?
They found a loophole. Did you catch the loophole?
No.
The employees are called models.
Oh.
The employees. We don't have employees. Well, we're done with employees. We're looking for models. And you don't fit. Yeah. That's crazy, man. This is crazy, man. This is some crazy stuff right here. Let's keep going.
Oh, so they can judge based on looks, you're saying?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Abercrombie was just overall a menace to society. I mean, they had graphic tees, just plain tees with little slogans on there, which just started off normal and cute. Abercrombie and Fitch established this day, blah, blah, blah. It looks very collegiate, but somehow they end up escalating. One shirt reads, I had a nightmare that I was a brunette. It's just mean for no reason, okay? But they keep going. Blondes are adored, brunettes are ignored. Mike Jeffries is indeed blonde. They have girls' shirts that read on the chest, who needs a brain when you have these? Or, I see that you already met the twins. Okay.
And people buy this stuff? I guess so. I've seen...
Not great. Or another one that reads, gentlemen prefer take old biddies, saying no brains. Do I make you look fat?
Whoa.
It's all relative in West Virginia, which apparently the governor of West Virginia did not approve of that message, was very upset by it. Or good girls drink quickly. Or just a shirt that says freshman 15 that's sold in the women's section, freshman 15, with a list of 15 boys' names. So freshman 15 is typically known as the 15 pounds that you gain when you go into college as a freshman, right? But this one reads a bunch of boys' names, so it's indicating that as a freshman in college, she slept with these 15 boys.
What?
But it's not until they mess with the Swifties that they actually end up in a bit of a trouble with most of these shirts. They made a t-shirt that reads, more boyfriends than TS. TS for Taylor Swift. Swifties start protesting, to which Abercrombie responds very sincerely and very professionally, issuing a statement on Twitter. Hey, hashtag Swifties. So we no longer sell the shirt. We hear Taylor's music and think that she's awesome. If you call the Abercrombie customer service line, you would hear the new updated message on the phone. Thank you for calling Abercrombie & Fitch Public Relations. If you are calling regarding the Taylor Swift t-shirt, please note that it is no longer available. Heinous, but it somehow gets worse. They start selling these t-shirts with a donkey wearing a sombrero and holding a taco in his hand. Next to him are the words, Juan Moore for the road. Then they release another shirt. It shows stereotypically racist caricatures of East Asians with slanted eyes, and the t-shirt reads, Wong Brothers Laundry Service. 2 Wongs can make it white.
That is crazy.
There were protests outside.
Nah, dude, hold up. These are millionaires and billionaires on drugs. They stop thinking, they stop caring, and they just want to see how far they can push it. Let's do this. Let's do this, man. Are you sure, dude? Let's see what happens. Let's just do it. Who cares? We rich anyway. We don't care. We get sued for a couple of billion.
Of East Asians with slanted eyes, and the t-shirt reads, Wong Brothers Laundry Service. 2 Wongs can make it white.
Can make it white.
There were protests outside of Abercrombie after that. People were rightfully so pissed off. Asian Americans did not find this funny. This shirt would actually cause so much problems for the brand. People started protesting outside the stores, holding up posters reading, 2 Wongs don't make it white, but 2 Wongs can make a fight. Educate America on institutional racism. I'm not Asian, but I recognize racism when I see it. Which, side note, with all of this going on, SNL decides to be racist about it. Tina Fey, acting as a news reporter, states, the protest was nonviolent and orderly, but the same could not be said for the parking lot when they all went to drive home, saying Asians are bad at driving. In response to all of this, a spokesperson for Abercrombie said, we personally thought Asians would love this t-shirt. We are truly and deeply sorry for everyone that we've offended. We never single out any one group or poke fun at anyone. We poke fun at everybody, from women to flight attendants to baggage handlers to football coaches to Irish Americans to snow skiers. There's really no group that we haven't teased. Mike Jeffries says, we have a whole morals committee for t-shirts. Sometimes they're on vacation. Listen, do we sometimes go too far? Absolutely. But we push the envelope and we try to be funny and we try to stay authentic and relevant to our target customer. I really don't care what anyone other than our target customer thinks.
And all that free advertisement. All that free advertisement they're getting. Yeah, that's crazy.
One former employee guessed it's because controversy brings free publicity. And the shirts are supposed to be cool. And what's cooler than something your parents don't want you to wear? Probably the more honest reason, though, is another former employee states, they kept making those graphic t-shirts because, quote, the kids loved wearing them, so we just kept making them. And they were cheap. You could sell tees for like an 85% markup. And I guess people wore them because they want to fit that image of the guys on the Abercrombie ads. Most of the pictures of all the shirtless guys laying down on the sand, showing off their armpits. They're known for their armpit ads. It's always like aggressive armpits. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And one of them literally states in an interview, I'm the armpit guy, because that's one of the most iconic pictures to come out of Abercrombie. That is all. All the photography is the work of one man named Bruce Weber. In the photography and fashion world, it's said that you could spot a Bruce Weber from a mile away. They say the aesthetic is, quote, joyful group shots, young people, sex, Americana, golden retrievers out in the countryside. He was one of the highest paid photographers at one point. He worked with brands like Calvin Klein, Ralph Lauren, Revlon, Versace, Vogue, GQ, Vanity Fair, Elle, Rolling Stone. You know those underwear ads for Calvin Klein? They basically started due in part because of Bruce. They were very controversial at the time, but also very groundbreaking. To some people, they said the photos look like softcore porn. The National Coalition for the Protection of Children and Families and another group called Focus on the Family, they both launched boycotts of the brands because of Bruce Weber's photos. But criticism aside, Bruce was killing it in the industry, so it doesn't really matter because being in the same room as Bruce meant that your career is going to advance. It's going to skyrocket. Abercrombie models remember going out to a photo shoot where Bruce was. He's not even taking pictures all day of everyone. He's looking for the right moment, the right people to take pictures of. They just told the models, be natural, do whatever feels natural, and Bruce will take a picture if he likes it. One model says guys would just be climbing up a tree being like, hey Bruce, it's a tree and I'm in it, look at me. Or they would start doing push-ups on the curb to get his attention. Bruce is a very fascinating character. One model remembers that he was called for a potential shoot with Bruce Weber, but instead of meeting at a photo shoot location, he goes up to meet with Bruce at a jewelry store? Hi Bruce, hi, nice to meet you. Bruce won't even look at him, won't even acknowledge him, nothing. So now he's just standing awkwardly to the side, uncomfortably, while Bruce, for quote, at least 10 minutes, picks out jewelry for his wife. It was all very strange. It's like a power play or something. But still, it's Bruce. This is what one model has to say about working with Bruce. I couldn't sleep the night before. I was like, I am going to shoot with Bruce Weber. Oh my God, I'm going to shoot with Bruce Weber. My star could turn. I could take off from here. And everybody is like, you're shooting with Bruce? That's awesome. Because he is the brains behind the image of Abercrombie. Skinny, rich, sexy, white. One former employee said, all that mattered was that the employees you took pictures of and sent back to headquarters were hot. That's it. That's at the store level. They're taking pictures of everyone working in the store, sending it back to corporate, and these people need to look like they could potentially be in a Bruce Weber ad. One supposed former manager of Abercrombie & Fitch did an AMA on Reddit where they said, there's a thing called the cast of insert store tracker. You submit your top 10 most attractive and outgoing sales floor staff. It is okay and encouraged for an ugly or quote chubby employee to only work in the back or with the night crew and not be on the sales floor. Every year the cast of gets their photo taken and submitted to corporate. Calendars and video propaganda are made and dispersed congratulating the sexiest store locations. It was weird. And the process of that is just uncomfortable. You have to take shirtless pictures of guys that work there to send to corporate. They write, it was so weird to take a guy into the back room, make him take off his shirt, pull his jeans right down to his pubes, and then take his picture. We have to do this to search for greeters. It was awkward. Of course, with everyone in the company having OCD, they made us do it like 10 different times with the same people off the clock, just constantly taking weird photos. Another former manager states, the thinner, more conventionally attractive you were, the closer you were to the front.
That is so crazy because this wasn't even that long ago, too.
No. Ethnic minorities and overweight people most of the time just went to the work in the stockroom, along with anyone who wasn't tall or facially symmetrical enough to fold t-shirts.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Another, a completely different former manager, she says, you have to rank your employees on a level of cool to rocks. If they aren't at least cool, you have to zero them off your schedule. They have to be fired. It didn't matter what your sales were. All that mattered was that the employees that you took pictures of were hot, which is clearly, that's illegal, right? That's what they say. One of the former managers also said, it was something of a sport amongst the floor managers and employees to make fun of overweight shoppers who came in looking for clothes, as we generally didn't carry about a size 12 in most items, and we were encouraged not to apologize for this. One manager even told me as his biceps strained the sleeves of his moose emblazoned shirt that wearing Abercrombie was a privilege, not a right. Okay, bro.
What?
And any employee who gained a significant amount of weight was fired with little explanation. The Supreme Court hears a lot of interesting cases. And then there's cases that honestly, why? Why did this happen? Why did somebody feel compelled to do this? And now we have to go to the Supreme Court. Why couldn't we just all have basic human decency and we would save everyone a lot of time, heartache, and even money? In 2015, SCOTUS hears a case of a woman named Samantha. She says in 2008, she applied for a job at Abercrombie, but she was denied a position because she wore a hijab. That's the only reason she was denied the position. Not because she was underqualified. If anything, she was likely overqualified. No other reason than her religious garment. They told her it went against their, quote, look policy, which is the, quote, classic East Coast collegiate style. Samantha rightfully files a complaint with the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, which then files a lawsuit against Abercrombie, and they double down. Abercrombie reps say, well, it's kind of like a baseball cap. Well, it's kind of not, but they double down, and they keep going. We ban all types of headgear, regardless of religious affiliation. Because of Abercrombie's stubbornness on being discriminatory, the case goes all the way up to the Supreme Court.
Whoa.
The case was heard by SCOTUS, and like I said, if Abercrombie and all the employees just had basic decency, it wouldn't have gone up all this way. Which, side note, that's not me saying Samantha shouldn't have brought it to SCOTUS. That's like, if we don't punch people in the faces, we don't have to have these trials about assault. I think Samantha did amazing. SCOTUS rules 8-1 in favor of Samantha, stating that Abercrombie has violated the Civil Rights Act, which states that employers must provide, quote, reasonable accommodation without undue hardship.
That's true.
Which honestly, Samantha,
that is like, well, how can I say this? Shoot, I don't know, man. You cannot, it's her religion to wear that, but it's fashion, and you're talking about clothing, but the clothing have to fit within a person's religion. That's not a hat. That's not a hat. You can't, if it's a hat thing, Abercrombie doesn't wear any hats, any headgear, anything, and that's written. Yeah, but that's not a hat. That's her religion. That's something different. You gotta push that aside. Yeah.
In favor of Samantha, stating that Abercrombie has violated the Civil Rights Act, which states
Supreme
that employers
Court?
must provide, quote, reasonable accommodation without undue hardship. Which honestly, Samantha is amazing. She quite literally helped make the country better. But again, nobody had to do that and go through all this anxiety had Abercrombie just not been a bad person. And they were also just flat out racist to everyone. They're just discriminating. After a corporate blitz in Irvine, California, which is heavily an Asian community, they fired almost everyone in the store because they're Asians. Yeah.
Whoa.
And they pointed at the white guy on the poster and said, you need to have more staff that looks like that.
That's crazy because probably most customers are Asians.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Which is just outright corporate discrimination and racism. Another Asian employee said he asked the assistant manager about rehiring him because he does well for his job. He's qualified. Why can't he work his job? And the assistant manager allegedly straight up told him, my manager said we can't rehire you because we already have too many Filipinos working in the store. He said, I was like, are you serious? She looked pretty uncomfortable and was like, yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. That's how the whole thing starts, because the managers or the people that feel sorry leaks out what really happened.
Hire you because we already have too many Filipinos working in the store. He said, I was like, are you serious? She looked pretty uncomfortable and was like, yeah. Which leads to a class action lawsuit of discrimination. The attorney representing all the plaintiffs said, it was visually very easy to see what the plaintiffs were saying in this case. They say, in this case, I could go to the mall and verify what our client had told us, and so I did that. I would go into the Abercrombie store and look at all the retail workers there, and then I would go across the hall to another retail establishment, Old Navy, Banana Republic, or The Gap, and the contrast was just striking. One former employee said online, I cut my hair into a short afro, and the next day at work, my manager immediately told me to go home because my hair no longer fit the approved styles in the company lookbook. They showed me all the approved styles, all of which I obviously couldn't replicate with a 1-inch curly afro. It was very clear that when my hair was chemically straightened, it was approved. But that when I allowed my hair to grow naturally, it became a problem. As a young Black woman, it definitely hurt to think that my natural look wasn't, quote, acceptable. They essentially refused to schedule me until I made my hair look white again. So I just kind of never showed up again. Allegedly, Abercrombie attorneys tried to argue that they were not fired due to racial discrimination. They were fired because, for a lack of better words, they were ugly. They just...
Whoa, Lord have mercy. I never knew all this was going on. I never knew that Abercrombie, I can barely pronounce the name. I remember seeing that on the front of some shirts. I'm not into fashion like that, man. But a fashion statement have to be made to the target audience that you are trying to create a better fashion on, or your fashion look. This is how this group of people should look. And it's a shame, but it's law. It's a shame that you can't discriminate and say, well, our clothes, we are targeting young white fit kids. That's a narrowed down target, right? That's against the law, what you just said. It's against the law. It's a shame that it's against the law, but it is so much negativity in this world that we had to put some type of laws to make everything a little more even. How dare you not hire somebody to work a job because of the color of their skin, the race, they Filipino, they Asian, they Mexican, they black, they white. How dare you? How dare you do that? How dare you have to go all the way to the Supreme Court to win a case that's so obvious that it's written. The laws are written. This is my religion. My religion covers this. We had so many situations at work that you gotta shave, can't have a beard. And people, or if you have a beard, it gotta be trimmed neatly. It can't be X amount of inches. And people now are growing all these big beards. And they're saying you gotta trim it down. The lady at the job comes with clippers to cut it down before you go to your post. No, my beard grows like this because of my religion. They left that alone real quick. Yeah, don't nobody want to mess with the Supreme Court. I'm gonna cut it right here, man. Y'all stay tuned for part 2. We're gonna we try to do at least an hour videos, 1 hour. Part 2 is coming up. So y'all take it light, take it slow. Y'all tell them Uncle Mike told you so. Man, I can't wait to see these cases start. Peace out.